Let's go take a look at this top floor then. As explained earlier, there are three pieces of music present in this project: Gloom, Floodgates, and Atlas. Up to this point in my demo, we only worked with Gloom. To check how this was implemented, you can watch the Using Blueprints and Music segments to simulate a pair of speakers video. I will not go through how I have integrated the two other tracks, as this was done exactly the same way. Just as a quick little refresher though, all three pieces of music are starting at the same time right as the levels is starting. Logically, we should then hear all three tracks playing on top of each other at the same time, right? Well, we don't. And that is because all music elements have been assigned to states. Let's take a quick listen before moving on. As the player is walking on either of the three platforms, the music playing through all of the speakers in the world will be changed. Here is how I did it. Let's start with Wwise. After importing all of the respective mono tracks that corresponds to the left and right channels from each pieces of music, I assigned all of the left music playlist container to the play underscore speaker left and all of the right music playlist containers to the play underscore speaker right event. That way, they are all starting when that event is called. After that, I created a state group named Jukebox and three states named respectively Atlas, Floodgates, and Gloom. In that state group, I set up all transition to 0 as we will handle transition on the music segments themselves. Back in the interactive music hierarchy, I added a newly created state group to every single one of the music segments. This is where the magic happened. So let's take the left channel music segment of Gloom as an example. What is happening here is that when the global state is set to Gloom, Atlas and Floodgates will be turned down by 108 decibel. So they will basically be turned down to silence and only Gloom will be heard. This change happens on the next beat, so the change is not immediate and is cohesive with the music that is currently playing. It's just a more pleasant way of changing it. As you can see here, I made sure to set up each music segment to their respective actual tempo and time signature. Atlas and Floodgates are at 120 BPMs in 4/4, and Gloom is at 92 BPM in 3/4. But why is Gloom the one and only track we are hearing right at the start of the level? Let's return in the speaker stereo blueprint. Aha! That's because of this node right there. Before even posting the play underscore speaker left and play underscore speaker right events, the global state is set to Gloom. Again, remember, all three pieces of music are starting via the event right there. However, since the state is now set to Gloom right at the start of the level, Atlas and Floodgates are immediately turned down to silence. Alright, so next, what is happening under the hood for it to change as the player runs over a specific platform? Let's take a look. Those platforms are actually one single simple blueprint. This blueprint is made out of 3 metal planes and 3 box collision. Those 3 box collision have their own on-component begin overlap event, and that is what's triggering the state change. The state group and state text field inside the set state node have been entered manually to reflect the intended result, and there you go. When the player is entering any of the 3 box collision, it will change the global state and will turn down the volume of the music segment that is not corresponding to this platform. But what is this? This is simply a sound of a radio changing station that is playing each time the music is changing. Here is how I integrated it. So these are pretty straightforward. It posts an Wwise event when the player is entering any of the box collision. This event contains random container, so every time it's called, a new sound SFX is played. Next, I routed this container to its own audio bus here. Remember that audio bus here? Speaker Unreal? Every music element lives there. What I did here is simply setting an aggressive auto-ducking on the radio track change audio bus and inserted the speaker Unreal audio bus so that every time this radio sound plays, all of the music elements will be completely ducked down to silence. Recovery time is at 0, so right as the radio sound stops, music will immediately come back up.